You know what most people do when life knocks them down? They wait for something big to happen. A miracle. A breakthrough. A sudden win that will make all the pain disappear. But the truth is, it doesn't work like that. Big wins don't come out of nowhere. They're built quietly, slowly, from tiny moments of courage that no one even notices. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. After every failure, your mind whispers one dangerous thought. What's the point of trying again? And if you listen to that voice, that's where most people stop. Not because they're weak, but because they forget. You don't need a big win right now. You just need a small comeback. It doesn't matter if you failed yesterday, or last week, or even 5 years ago. What matters is that today, you do one thing. Just one. That tells your mind, I'm not done yet. Because here's the truth. Momentum doesn't start with confidence. It starts with movement. Confidence comes after you've taken that small step. It's not before. Let me tell you a short story. There was a time in my life when everything felt like it was falling apart. Work wasn't going well. I had messed up a few opportunities. And one morning, I just sat staring at my reflection, thinking, maybe I'm just not meant to win. You've probably had a moment like that too, when you're tired, disappointed and unsure of where to go next. That morning, I made a small decision, not a big one. I didn't set a new goal. I didn't make a plan for the year. I just told myself, let's get up, take a walk, and breathe. No motivation, no fancy speech, just movement, and something strange happened. As I walked, I started to feel a tiny shift inside. Not happiness, not yet, but a little strength. A small spark that whispered, see, you're still here. That was my comeback. Not the job, not the success. Just that walk. That small act of not giving up on myself when it would have been easier to do nothing. You see, comebacks are not always loud. Sometimes they look like you cleaning your room after days of feeling low. Sometimes it's you opening your laptop again after failing an exam, or just sending one message you've been avoiding. It's these little moments that slowly rebuild you one piece at a time. The world tells us to chase big wins, but no one tells us that the small ones matter more, because the small ones are what build you back. They remind you of who you are, long before the results show up. And when you start stacking those small wins, something powerful happens. You begin to see yourself differently. You start to believe again. And that belief, that quiet personal belief, is what leads to real transformation. So if you're listening to this, and you're in that dark space where everything feels too far away, too broken to fix, I want you to do one thing. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Right after this video ends. Do something small. Drink a glass of water. Write one sentence in your notebook. Go for a short walk. Anything that says, I'm trying. Because that tiny act might just be the start of your comeback. And one day you'll look back and realize that little step was the moment your story started to change. Asterisk, you know what's funny? The moment you take that small step, life quietly notices. It doesn't clap. It doesn't cheer. But something begins to move, slowly, gently, like the first light after a long night. At first, you won't even feel the difference. You'll still be tired. You'll still have doubts. But then one morning, you'll wake up and realize it hurts a little less. You're thinking a little clearer. You're not as afraid anymore. And that's how small comebacks work. They don't shout. They whisper. They don't change everything in one day. They change you one thought at a time. We live in a world obsessed with big results, big numbers, big fame, big achievements. But what if I told you that the people who truly grow aren't chasing big wins? They're chasing progress. They understand that a 1% improvement every day is still an improvement. That one small comeback can lead to another, and then another, until one day they look around and realize they've built something amazing. Quietly, let me share something personal. There was a time when I failed at something I really cared about. I had worked for months, and when it collapsed, I felt like everything inside me collapsed too. For weeks, I did nothing. No motivation, no plans, just silence. And then one day, I picked up my notebook. I didn't know what to write. I just scribbled one line. I can start again. Wasn't perfect. It wasn't even hopeful. But it was honest. And that one line became the seed for a comeback I never expected. Each day after that, I wrote a little more. Sometimes only a few words. But every line reminded me I was moving again. And that's the point. You don't have to move fast. You just have to move forward. That's what small comebacks do. They give you momentum when motivation is gone. Because the truth is, motivation doesn't start your journey. Discipline does. Courage does. That one moment when you decide, I'm not staying down. That's where everything begins. You don't need to rebuild your life in 1 week. You just need to stop running from it. Start with one corner of your world. Fix one habit. Keep one promise to yourself. Do it again tomorrow. That's how small comebacks turn into big changes. And when you do that long enough, you realize it was never about the big win at all. It was about the small, quiet victories that built you in silence. The mornings you got out of bed when you didn't want to. The nights you stayed kind when you were angry. The moments you forgave yourself and tried again. Those are the real wins. The invisible ones that no one sees, but they're the foundation of everything strong inside you. So, if you're listening to this right now and you're waiting for that big moment, stop waiting. Start small. Don't underestimate the power of showing up again. Even when it feels pointless, because one small comeback can change everything. Maybe today, it's just cleaning your desk. Maybe tomorrow it's applying for that job again. Maybe next week. It's forgiving yourself for what didn't work out. Each time you rise, even just a little, you're teaching your mind something powerful. And over time, that belief becomes unstoppable. It becomes your strength. The kind that doesn't depend on luck or timing or applause, but on you. Because at the end of the day, you don't need a big win to prove your worth. You just need one small reason to keep going. And if you keep going, one small comeback at a time, the big wins will find you. Not because you chased them, but because you became the kind of person who doesn't quit when things fall apart. So today, start where you are. Do one small thing that pulls you out of the dark, even for a moment. Because that's how every great story begins. Not with a victory, but with a comeback. And yours? It starts right now. Asterisk, you know. Sometimes we wait for life to give us that one big win. That miracle moment that changes everything. But the truth is, life rarely works that way. The real change comes quietly, slowly, through those small comebacks you make every day. It's in the morning, you wake up even when you don't feel like it. It's in the moment you try again after failing 100 times. It's when you choose discipline over comfort, hope over despair, progress over perfection. Every single small step you take, it's building something you can't yet see. Like drops of water carving a mountain. Invisible at first, but powerful over time. And that's the thing people don't understand. You don't suddenly become unstoppable. You build that momentum by refusing to stay down when life knocks you over. The comeback is not about proving the world wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about reminding yourself, I'm not done yet. Because every time you rise, you get a little stronger. Every time you try again, you build resilience. And one day, you'll look back and realize that all those tiny comebacks were never tiny at all. They were the foundation of your transformation. So if you're listening to this right now, and you feel lost, defeated, or stuck, remember this. You don't need a massive victory today. You just need a small comeback. Start small. Wake up earlier. Read one page. Do one push-up. Send that one message. Write that one line. Make that one decision to keep going. Because the moment you take action, no matter how small, you shift from stagnant to moving. And once you're in motion, life starts to open up again. Let me tell you something powerful. Every big success story you've ever heard started with someone who was broken, tired, or lost, but chose to make one small comeback. The athlete who trained one more day, the writer who wrote one more page, the student who studied one more night, The person who refused to let a bad chapter end their story. That's how momentum begins. Not from perfection, not from luck, but from courage, the courage to try again. And when you stack enough of those small wins together, you become unstoppable. Not because you never fail, but because you never quit. Remember this line and keep it with you. You don't need a big win to change your life. You just need the courage to start your small comeback today. Let that sink in. Because maybe your comeback doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe no one else will notice it. But you will. And that's enough. Because one small comeback today can lead to another tomorrow. And another after that. Until one day, you're not fighting to come back anymore. You're fighting to stay ahead. That's when you realize your biggest win wasn't the trophy, the recognition, or the applause. Your biggest win was that moment you refused to stay defeated. So take a deep breath, stand tall, and whisper to yourself, I'm coming back, not for anyone else, not for the world, but for you. Because your story isn't over. It's just getting started.